Today, I'm gonna show you how to build 3 more LEGO minifigure habitats for the minifigure from the Dungeons and Dragons collectible minifigure series. Ciao a tutti, welcome back to Obrick Dreamer. So today we have these 3 characters. We have the Git Warlock, the Elf Bard, and the Aarakocra Ranger. So let's start right away with the Elf Bard. So this is gonna be the smallest ever, at least for me, tavern. I'm saying this because I already built 3 taverns on my channel. So back probably 2-3 years ago, I built I think it was a 20 by 20 tavern with some classic characters, pretty fun build. Recently for the D&D series, I built a tavern where I display all the minifigures from this series. And for the smaller display that I made for the MISB display case that I will link down below in the description, I made this section of the display was a tavern and I fit 4 minifigure in there. So today we're gonna shrink it down again to habitat, so a 8 by 8. So here I have dark red on the floor and I have this wooden pillar at the back. So what I decided to do is a bit over engineering everything, but the final result is very nice, but not very stable. So here I'm building sideways, very simple snot build over here with some plates and tiles to create this detail at the bottom. So these are like all wooden planks laying on the side. And then on top of that, I'm gonna add this build. So here I extended one stud at the back, and with modified bricks again, I came off one plate and one tile to create this indentation. So the higher part, the top part of the wall is going a little bit backwards compared to the rest. Of course, because of this build over here, then I cannot properly connect the top of the habitat. So if I want to place another habitat on top of this, I will have to be very careful. Here I have some extra bricks just because there was a bit of light going through behind the pillar. So in this way, nothing can be seen. Here you can see 2 loots. We have a very nice one here with the Elf Bard. This one is new. This one is the more classic one that came with the bar collectible minifigure, for which I did already a habitat quite some time ago. Not as nice as the one that I do now. And this other one is from the Lunar New Year parade from, I think, a couple of years ago. Now, on the other side, I wanted to build a fireplace. So here I have a fairly simple structure. So we have some flames over there inside. They're not going to be seen much. And here I have a measuring structure, and then on top, again, using those same, actually, not the same, I'm using brackets here. So I'm coming off a little bit extra to have this sort of stone-looking detail coming up the chimney with a different color scheme. So I'm using this medium nougat over here. And then on the side, I have the same pattern as over there. I just decided at the bottom to not go sideways, but just build with regular bricks to make it a little bit easier. Again, some extra bricks at the back to block the light. And over here, I went outside this, around this, using this 1x4 with the 2 studs on the side. So this will allow me to have the chimney resting in between these pieces. So this is gonna connect over here and slide in. Again, it's not very stable because you can see this one is not connected, but I think is a very good looking habitat. Over here, I will have to have the connection to the habitat below. I guess this is going to be very shaky. And here I have another structure. On top, I made another kind of support like this one as a decoration, even though they're actually made in 2 different ways, because this one is coming off a little bit more. And because I didn't have any more 1x1 in dark, in reddish brown, I decided to use a headlight brick. You can see over here the headlight brick to fill that 1x1 gap. So that I use it to add an accessory, which is this key. It's just there because I didn't have the 1x1, so I decided to add a little bit more details because of that. Now, let's add the furniture. So over here at the back, I'm gonna just add some sort of a big container with a candle on top. There's a lot of wood in this tavern, so hopefully this candle is gonna be in a safe place. Then I have an interesting chair. Here I'm using these wand pieces from Harry Potter with the spruce into this antenna base connected to the round chair. And then I'm using these step pieces at the bottom for the chair. Pretty interesting looking chair. Is going to be a detail here at the back side. And then I have a table, very simple and very straightforward with the barrel at the bottom. So this is going to connect to those two studs over there. I have a colorful drink here because I'm assuming this Dungeons and Dragons is not just a regular tavern, but is something a little bit more magical. Here we have a piece of bread, and then on top we're going to add the bar. That is a very colorful one. So I thought also adding that green drinks there give a little bit of extra color to the scene. And here is the final result. This is my smallest ever tavern, and I have to say, might be one of my best ever habitats in terms of detail. I think it's pretty interesting looking. By the way, I'm also watching in this day. Yesterday I started watching the movie, the Dungeons and Dragons movie. That so far is pretty fun. I need to watch the last 30 minutes. Let's see how it goes. Let's move on to the second habitat. That is the one for the Git Warlock. So here I'm going for a mystical cave. Here again I have to thank my viewer, Ben. I will link again over here like last week because a lot of the suggestion for this build came from him. So here I have the 8x8 base. I have this dark blue trans clear kind of water, and then I'm gonna build this cave. By the way, my Dreamers member, they already see this build actually 2 weeks ago in my weekly vlog video. So if you want to support the channel, that's the way to do it. I have a membership program with a couple of tiers, and the Dreamers member, they have this weekly video where they can already see a little bit in advance some of my video and of course the building progress behind it. So here I'm just going with some random bricks to do all these details on the side. I have some slopes, I have some inverted slopes. I added some details with the same color scheme. For example, at the bottom over there, you see there is an additional stud in sort of purple color to keep a little bit in the theme with this build. Over here again, you can see I have another one of these, and I'm adding a sort of stalactite or stalagmite, I don't remember which one of the two, coming down over there to create this cave. Over here, I'm gonna need to add this sort of, how to say, this is a waterfall coming down, following the same color scheme. Of course, in this case, I had to go sideways, and then I just block everything off over here with this. This one is a little bit more structurally sound compared to the tavern. Of course, here I need to cover all these colorful bricks with this panel over here that actually should go a little bit taller so that we cover everything nicely. There we go. There is a couple of colors that can show here. For example, you have that white there. Again, that's because I have a lot of parts on display, a lot of mocks on display, so some of these things will have to be changed over time if I want to display this. Here I have this purple fire that is an additional accessory that's come from the series. I think from the witch, Tasha the Witch Queen. Over here I'm gonna add a sort of altar. So this is the one that I created. It's a fairly simple build. I have some ingots. I have this interesting like shield piece to which I added this bottle with follow kind of the same color scheme, and this accessory that is I think from the Moon Knight. I'm gonna place the dagger on top of this altar. So let's try to put it somewhere here, and we're gonna connect the altar as a centerpiece at the back side of the build. So this is gonna be like that. Let's see if I can place the dagger in a way that it can be seen properly. Something like that. Now I have one last piece of accessory that is this sort of vase with some crystal, again following the same color scheme, and then we can add the warlock with the staff, with the eye that again has some purple in it. So I think this give the vibes of this mystical cave. We have all the dark bluish gray, we have the dark blue, we have the purple. I think it's a pretty interesting build. Let me know in the comments what you think about it. And now the last character that I'm gonna build is gonna be another interesting habitat. Is gonna be the Aarakocra Ranger. They come with this gray puppy. By the way, recently I started a series of mock builder news. It's a weekly episode where I showcase the best creation and techniques and articles from the world of my own creation of all the Lego builders around the community. And in the next episode on Thursday, I'm going to show a build that is related to this range. Very, very interesting one. So stay tuned. And if you haven't watched it yet, please go and watch the first 2 episodes. So again, here we have the 8x8 base. I decided to extend it a little bit because this is quite a big minifigure, because you can see, of course, with these big wings, I need to get a little bit of extra space. So I'm going to extend a little bit over here and a little bit over here with an extra rock. And here I have this very light blue waterfall. Again, with the different shades of blue, I'm not very sure again on which exactly is this one. Maybe it's light aqua. I'm not too sure. On the side, I'm going to build some rock work. Again, I don't have enough shades of blue to make a sky that go all around the habitat, so I decided to create a sort of mountain on one side, while this side is going to be a little bit more a forested kind of area. And over here, again, with some snot techniques, I'm coming off and I'm adding all these different types of slopes to create the side of this mountain. And then, of course, a little bit more of sky on the right side. Of course, this is very squarish, this line, so I will have to cover it up later with a tree. So the base of the tree is going to be with this one. So I'm having these sort of technique pieces with a couple of branches coming off the side with a yellow butterfly. And I also have another darker butterfly flying over here. I'm using these angle studs and these transparent stands for minifigure that are always very good to pose minifigure and the butterfly in this case. And then for this one, I'm using these very interesting plant pieces that I'm actually surprised that I haven't seen many people using MOCs. These are very good, very good. It might be a bit pricey, I guess. I only have 6 of them. I use all of them. These are layer leaf, I think, on Bricklink. They're mostly in Friends set and Disney set. I think they are pretty interesting and very basic. I just stack them on top of each other, and this tree looks very, very good. So let me put the bar inside the technique over there. I think it's a pretty good looking tree. Now I have only 6 of these, so I didn't experiment in different angles and making a little bit bigger. And they have 2 connections. So actually the bottom one, they connect to the back stud, and this one on top connect to the one more in the center. So I have this idea a little bit of the tree being bigger at the bottom. Anyway, at the end, I need to add the ranger over here with the puppy over here to complete the scene. Of course, when you add tree to habitats, the bottom part become a little bit darker, so the details at the bottom cannot really see much. But that's what happens when you cover it up, unless you have a light from the front. So here is these new 3 habitats. Let me know which one is your favorite character and which one is your favorite habitat from this series. I will continue with the habitat series from the D&D, not next week, but the week after, because this week I have a Lord of the Ring mock that is already done, and my members already saw some pieces of that. So stay tuned for next week for a Lord of the Rings diorama. And if you haven't watched the first episode of the Dungeons & Dragons Habitat series, I will link it over here on the screen now, so you can go and check out, if you missed it, the first 3 habitats of the series. Thank you very much for watching. Please consider to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Ciao, ciao.